Tonight, the breaking news as we come on the air, the jurors taken aback by graphic images shown to them at the Sean Combs trial. Our reporter in court. Also, a 12-year-old boy swept away in the flash floods in the east. He's been discovered, the body now. The storm's now coming tonight. Lee Goldberg is here. First tonight, the jury in the Sean Combs trial seeing the first graphic images of his drug and sex-fueled parties, according to prosecutors. How the jury reacted to what they were seeing, our reporter right there in the courtroom. At this hour, millions bracing for storms in the east. The body of a 12-year-old boy found after being swept away in the flooding. A father shoulder deep in the water rescuing his 9-year-old daughter on his back. Lee is standing by with the forecast. For the first time in 25 years, an American president shaking the hands with the president of Syria. President Trump shaking hands with the new Syrian leader. He was once a militant who led an arm of al-Qaeda. And that $400 million luxury 747 set to be given by Qatar, President Trump wants to use it as the new Air Force One. So where does this stand tonight? This evening, breaking news, the FBI arresting a former National Guardsman. They say he was set to attack his fellow soldiers. And a separate case tonight, a mother arrested, accused of buying ammunition for her son, who was allegedly planning an attack on his middle school. Tonight, the major news involving Lyle and Eric Menendez. They've been resentenced. Instead of life in prison now, it's 50 years in prison, and it's now up to the parole board or the governor of California, who can step in at any time to set them free. The heated moments on Capitol Hill today, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. grilled about why he won't clearly say the measles vaccine works and saves lives. Also asked why he fired workers who were helping to protect children from lead in schools. And Kennedy, who is the health secretary, stunning some in that room when he said, "I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me." The Little League scare tonight, the system that blew through in a matter of seconds, and you'll see it. Also, Pope Leo XIV and the tennis star. This is a funny moment when he was asked if he wanted to play. And the baby eagle set to take flight. All eyes on that nest tonight. Ours too, and we'll show you.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. We begin tonight with the dramatic moments in the Sean Diddy Combs trial right here in New York. For the first time, graphic images of the alleged sexual encounters shown only to the jury, not to the public. But our reporter was in the courtroom, and the jurors were taken aback by what they saw. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leading us off tonight. The testimony is disturbing, and we will not be showing those images here. Again, they were only shown to the jury. But what our reporter saw in the faces of those jurors today.
For more than 2 days, jurors in the Sean Combs trial have heard descriptions of days-long drug-fueled sexual performances. Today, they saw the pictures. The star witness, Cassie Ventura, testifying Combs forced her to record encounters with multiple male escorts, then used the humiliating, derogatory footage as leverage. The jury saw 7 still images from those videos. In a soft voice, Ventura said, "That's me." One juror arched an eyebrow, another swallowed hard, a third moved his neck as if taken aback. Ventura testified she participated in hundreds of these encounters and was trying to escape one of them at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 when Combs was caught on security cameras running down the hall, knocking her down and kicking her. Combs also seen dragging her across the floor and minutes later picking up a vase of flowers and throwing it. "I just remembered it coming towards me," Ventura testified. "I didn't get hit. I remember it hitting the wall. He was yelling at me." The jury shown these photos of the shattered vase across the carpet, the wall damaged. Battered and bruised, Ventura testified she left the hotel, and when Combs sent messages demanding to speak to her, she replied, "I have a black eye and a fat lip. You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done." She said a friend noticed her injuries and called police, but Ventura did not identify Combs. "I wasn't ready." 2 days later, the couple on the red carpet. Ventura saying she wore quite a bit of makeup to cover up the bruising on my face. "How frequently did Sean put his hands on you during freak-offs?" a prosecutor asked. "Too frequently," she answered. "A lot." Ventura admitted she could be violent too, recalling drunkenly punching Combs for swearing at her. "After I punched him, he attacked me." She says she remembered trying to cover her face because he was trying to stomp on it with his foot. Ventura told the jury, "I just felt trapped." She says she developed an off-and-on addiction to opiates, which made her feel numb. After more than a decade together, Ventura and Combs split in 2018. 5 years later, she sued him, alleging a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Today, she revealed for the first time that suit was settled for $20 million. Asked why she agreed to testify, Ventura said, I can't carry this anymore. I can't carry the shame, the guilt. I'm here to do the right thing. Cross-examination is going to start here tomorrow. David, the defense has already suggested they'll try to portray Cassie Ventura as a violent, vindictive girlfriend who made a choice every single day, they said for years, to stay with Sean Combs. He maintains his innocence. David?
All right, Aaron Katersky, this case disturbing from the start. Aaron, thank you. Next tonight here, the new storms coming tonight. Heavy rain expected yet again after deadly flash flooding already. The emergency playing out in parts of the east. The body of a 12-year-old Virginia boy swept away has now been found tonight. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast for the evening ahead. But first, Stephanie Ramos with the images coming in tonight.
Look at this. Tonight, millions on alert for dangerous flooding. Heavy rain moving up the East Coast after a deadly deluge swamped the mid-Atlantic. West of Charlottesville, first responders in Albemarle County, Virginia, desperately searched for 12-year-old Jordan Sims, who was swept away by floodwaters.
It was a raging river last night. I don't think I've ever seen a stream like that.
Sadly, they found his body just before 9 this morning. Western Maryland hit with more than 5 inches of rain Tuesday. Rivers bursting out of their banks. First responders using boats to ferry families through the rapids. In Western Port, 200 students and adults rescued from the elementary school. Cars bobbing in the water, one of 3 schools that had to evacuate. This photo showing Dustin Nash carrying his 9-year-old daughter Aria out of harm's way through shoulder-deep floods.
David, those showers and storms are pushing their way into the Northeast. There are flood warnings in effect, making for a rough commute home for millions. David.
Stephanie Ramos, Steph, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of our New York station, WABC. Hi, Lee.
Hey, David. In a less severe version of that, soaking here in the New York City area, some pockets of flooding, but flood watches and warnings stretch from southwestern Pennsylvania into eastern Virginia. You can see another inch or 2 of rainfall and unfortunately some pockets of heavy rain over the hard-hit areas of Maryland and Virginia. Thankfully, this rainfall will weaken overnight, just tapering to showers. Severe weather threats starting to brew over the northern plains as the storm spins up. Severe thunderstorm watch Dakotas into parts of Nebraska. And then some heavy rain over the wildfire zone in Minnesota. Double-edged sword there. Dampens the fires, but maybe spark new fires. Then a severe weather threat from the upper Midwest of the Tennessee Valley late week. David?
All right, Lee Goldberg with us tonight, and that rain hitting many of the areas that certainly do not need it again. Lee, thank you. Now to President Trump in the Middle East tonight, into a moment that has not been seen in 25 years. An American president shaking hands with the leader of Syria. The new president of Syria is a former militant linked to al-Qaeda at one point. All of this today with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia standing by there. President Trump then traveled to Qatar, the nation poised to gift him that $400 million luxury 747 that the president wants to use as Air Force One. Critics asking, is this ethical? Is it safe for an American president to be flying in a jet given to him by a foreign country? Mary Bruce traveling with the president. She's in Doha tonight.
Tonight, for the first time in 25 years, the leaders of the United States and Syria coming together. President Trump shaking hands with Syria's new president, Ahmed al-Sharaa, a former militant who once led an arm of al-Qaeda before leading the movement to overthrow Bashar al-Assad. Joining them, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who arranged the meeting, which comes 24 hours after Trump honored his request to lift U.S. sanctions on Syria.
Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince.
Today on Air Force One, reporters asking Trump,
how did you find the Syrian president?
Great. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
Does that worry you at all?
He's got a real shot at pulling it together.
The White House saying behind closed doors, Trump urged the new Syrian president to tell all foreign terrorists to leave and to help normalize relations with Israel. Trump then heading to Qatar, a nation he once accused of funding terrorism.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
But today, Qatar rolled out the red carpet, welcoming Trump with elaborate performances, hundreds of camels, and even an escort of Tesla Cybertrucks. The president and the emir then signing a $96 billion deal for Qatar to buy up to 210 American-made jets from Boeing.
We've been friends for a long time, and this is an outstanding man. He's a great man, and we're going to help each other.
What neither mentioned, the other way the emir wants to help the president, by gifting him a $400 million luxury jet known as a Flying Palace to use as Air Force One before it's transferred to Trump's presidential library.
We were talking, and he said, if I can help you, let me do that.
Trump says the current Air Force One is 40 years old, out of date, and not impressive.
And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it, this is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And, you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane.
Now, the deal for this jet is not yet done, but tonight there are still real concerns about conflicts of interest and security. For instance, how much would it cost American taxpayers to retrofit a jet like this, bring it up to American security standards? And there are still serious questions about whether a deal like this is even legal. David.
Mary Bruce in Doha, Qatar tonight. Mary, thank you. We turn now to the Menendez brothers tonight into the bombshell ruling, a judge resentencing them. Instead of life in prison without parole, now sentencing them to 50 years to life, meaning there's now a chance they can go free. It's now up to the parole board and the California governor, who can step in at any time to set them free. Here's Matt Gutman.
For the Menendez family, a triumphal walk down courthouse steps, 35 years in the making, and a giant leap closer to freedom.
Redemption is possible. The fact is, the Menendez brothers have done remarkable work.
The judge resentencing the brothers to 50 years to life instead of the previous sentence of life without parole for the murders of their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez, now making them immediately eligible for parole. Moments earlier, sobbing in the courtroom as the brothers, via video link, read statements to the court, assuming full responsibility for the crimes. Lyle reading, "I killed my mom and dad. I give no excuses. I do not blame my parents. I was a 21-year-old who thought I could fix what I could not fix." Eric telling the court, "My actions were criminal, selfish, cowardly." He offered no excuses, saying, "I fired all 5 rounds at my parents and went to reload." For the family, it was vindication.
This is done. This is done. You understand?
A recent Netflix series and a string of documentaries shining a spotlight on their claims of sexual abuse by their father, allegations backed up by their cousins at their first trial.
We're stunned. It's a moment that we've all waited 35 years for.
And in an exclusive statement to ABC News, Eric saying, "I'm deeply grateful for the courageous judge and his belief in Lyle and me. I will not let him down." The family's ailing matriarchs, the sisters of Kitty and Jose, hoping to live to see their brother's freedom.
Describe to me the exact words your mother said when you told her 50 to life, they have a chance at parole.
She said, "Thank you, honey. This was for her."
David, at this point, there are 2 potential pathways to freedom for the brothers. The first is through Governor Newsom, who could grant them clemency at any point. The other is through the parole board, and their first hearing with the board is on June 13th. And even if the board grants them immediate parole, this is still a process that could take months, David.
All right, Matt Gutman has been following this very closely for us. Matt, thank you as always. We turn now to the heated comments on Capitol Hill. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. grilled today about why he won't clearly say the measles vaccine works and saves lives, particularly with children. And at one point, Kennedy, who of course is the health secretary, surprised some in the room when he said, "I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me." Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the hot seat. Lawmakers asking the noted vaccine skeptic whether parents should vaccinate their children against measles amid an alarming outbreak across 30 states.
I don't want to seem like I'm being evasive.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me.
But senators pressing forward.
Are you actually still recommending people get the vaccine, or are you not?
Senator, if I advised you to swim in a lake that I knew there to be alligators in, wouldn't you want me to tell you there were alligators in it?
So are you recommending the measles vaccine or not?
What I've said and what I said...
It doesn't sound like you are, if that's...
Are you going to let me answer? Or are you going to keep interrupting?
Are you or are you not?
Are you going to let me answer? I am not going to just tell people everything is safe and effective if I know that there's issues. I need to respect people's intelligence.
I think you're answering the question. I think you're
and
answering
the reason
That's really dangerous for the American public and for families.
The fact is, the measles vaccine is considered safe. 3 people have died in the current outbreak, including 2 children, all of them unvaccinated. The Republican chairman of the Health Committee, who is also a doctor, correcting Kennedy today after the secretary claimed most childhood vaccines have not undergone rigorous testing.
The only vaccine that has been tested in a full-blown placebo trial against an inert placebo was the COVID vaccine.
The Secretary made the statement that no vaccines except for COVID have been evaluated against placebo. For the record, that's not true. Rotavirus, measles, and HPV vaccines have been, and some vaccines are tested against previous versions. So just for the record, to set that straight.
Kennedy also grilled on the sweeping cuts across his agency. 20,000 employees now gone, including lead exposure experts, set to fly to Milwaukee, where students at several schools have been exposed to dangerous lead levels.
When a community asks for help to prevent lifelong complications for children, and there is no one there to pick up the phone, and it's not because this program is ineffective, it's because you fired the entire team whose job it is to support communities like Milwaukee.
If that money has been appropriated, we will spend that money. If it's been appropriated to Milwaukee, we will spend it in Milwaukee. I've spent a lot of time in Milwaukee
it's to
working on
provide expert, and the entire staff has been fired.
And no word from HHS tonight on whether those lead experts will be rehired. Secretary Kennedy also facing some questions after posting this photo over the weekend of himself and his grandchildren swimming in a contaminated creek in Washington, D.C. The National Park Service says there are high levels of bacteria in that water that makes swimming in it or even standing in it a health hazard, David.
And they've told the public about this before.
Yes, and no word from HHS tonight, David.
All right, Rachel, thank you. To the other news tonight, a former Army National Guardsman is behind bars accused of plotting an ISIS-inspired attack on his fellow soldiers at a military facility near Detroit. The FBI says Ammar Saeed launched a drone to conduct last-minute surveillance on the base. The alleged plan called for a mass casualty attack involving Molotov cocktails, assault-style guns, and armor-piercing ammunition. Also tonight here in a separate case, authorities in San Antonio, Texas have now arrested and charged a mother after she allegedly bought her son ammunition and tactical gear despite knowing about her son's threats against his own middle school. When we come back here on the broadcast, the deadly fall. 4 people have fallen from a mountain here in the U.S. Also ahead here, the baby eagles. They're now 2.5 months old. This is a nest being watched by thousands right here in the U.S. tonight, and we'll show you what's about to happen. And take a look at this tonight, the scare on the Little League field, the system that blew through the game in a matter of seconds. In a moment. Tonight, the deadly fall from a mountain in Washington state. 4 climbers plunging 400 feet. Only 1 survived this. Authorities say they were coming down the North Cascades Mountains. The lone survivor tangled in ropes and equipment. The sheriff's office tonight saying he hiked to his car and then drove to a payphone to call for help for himself. He's being treated now for internal bleeding and head trauma. He's expected to survive this. When we come back tonight, the scare on the Little League field, we'll show you that moment. And then the funny moment with Pope Leo XIV and the tennis star. What happened when the Pope was given a racket and asked if he wanted to play in a moment. To the index of other news, a sudden dust storm barreling across a Little League field in northern Illinois. Look at this. The video shows the 2 teams on the field. The dust devil then comes racing right across home plate. It only lasted a few seconds. All the kids are okay, a little dusty. The game did go on. Pope Leo XIV working on his tennis game. The Pope meeting the world's top-ranked men's player today. Jannik Sinner asked after he was given a racket if he wanted to play, and the Pope joked, "We probably break something." The Pope also joking right there. He dressed for Wimbledon. He said, "I'm dressed in all white." Pretty good sense of humor. When we come back here tonight, thousands of eyes right here in the U.S. trained on an eagle's nest tonight. Those baby eagles, you'll see how big they are now and what's about to happen.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir. Sponsored by the Farmer's Dog. Dog food made fresh and delivered right to you.
Finally tonight here, those baby eagles, already as big as their parents. Tonight, all eyes on that eagle nest. We first reported on that family of bald eagles in Southern California's San Bernardino Mountains in March, capturing the world's attention, so many watching them online. Mom and Dad taking turns keeping the eggs warm in the snow. The eggs then hatching, everyone watching, the baby eaglets growing before our eyes. And now, about 2.5 months old, the 2 baby eagles named Sunny and Gizmo by the nonprofit keeping a watchful eye on them are now getting ready to fly the nest. Their wingspan more than 5 feet already. The nest is getting crowded. Tonight, biologists say they're now fully grown. The brother and sister are expected to fledge or fly for the first time any day now. It's possible they won't return, scientists say, but they usually do. All eyes on that nest tonight, including ours. We'll keep you posted. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.